tell you what.
Talk.
My
No, I was.
What'd you say?
It sounded like I said talk, but I was going to say
That's what
something. I was going to say it's all coming back to me now. Like it's coming back all this past Saturday. It's just a blur.
Dude,
so many
this
football games.
week, this
Dude.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday might be better than Saturday this week.
Well, is it this weekend? This is the weekend you're talking about. There's a lot of Group of Five slate on prime time.
Sunbelt, yeah.
Sunbelt.
But even like tomorrow, you got App and Coastal. Then Friday, you got Memphis and Tulane. There's a bunch else in there. Of course, all the Conference USA games.
Well, you got James Madison and Georgia Southern.
That's a big one. And Liberty goes to Jacksonville State. They better look out.
Jacksonville State's 5-1.
How is Middle Tennessee State still the favorites to win this week?
Because they're
Latex.
They're good.
They're giving. You know what you're getting is
there are two games they should have won.
Western and Jack State are getting a lot of credit. I think is why Middle's still favored.
Go ahead.
But I mean, we ain't on the show yet. But I ain't picking them.
If you take away 2 halves of football in the 2 games that they should have won, then Middle should be 3-2 right now.
Well,
should be,
but they're not.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, never can be fooled again.
Can't fool again.
Yeah, I'm not even touching that ball game. They ruined my whole week last week. Yeah. Not even touching it. They probably won't even.
I'm still sick about it.
Good evening, Joe. Just had to say what's up to Joe Judkins in the live chat.
I still don't have the YouTube app. I apologize dearly to you guys.
I mean, do you even care about this thing, Sprouse?
Honestly, about to wipe my hands of it.
Just wait 2 weeks and then you can do it.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too, because I don't know where you're going to stay in that town because there's nothing there.
I got a nice trailer. Pull
I'm
behind.
about to say this is where his trailer comes in. I'm just waiting to see a Facebook picture of that thing spray painted black with a white V on it.
Well, Jeff, how much do we owe you?
We'll talk about that off air.
Just when I think you can't get any dumber, you go out and do something like this. Oh man!
50 miles.
So what's it? Is there anything in it?
I saw Scarlett post on her story, and I just said, "I give it 10 minutes. I'm gonna get a message from Jeff." And I mean, boom! Right at 10 minutes, you sent that message to the group.
You want to know what's so funny? When you sent that, I was like, surely he doesn't really think this is a Group of Five guy. I was like,
you talking to me?
Yeah. Like
I don't know. I was like, maybe Sprouse and Jeff were in cahoots, and Sprouse was like, pull the trigger.
Listen, if it was a freaking Sprinter van with, electric recliner chairs and a TV, and you got a deal like that on it, Jeff.
Well, I thought Jeff's response about taking it to the Mountain West games was pretty good.
Can you see us rolling up to Laramie, barely making it?
We're about to leave on Tuesday to get there by Saturday.
You have all the spare tires in the bed of your truck.
Figured the Rocky Mountains be a little more rockier than this.
All right, are we ready to do a show or what, Jeff? I mean, you tell me when to go.
Let's do it.
Welcome into the #1 Group of Five football podcast in all of the world. This is the Group of Five guys. Our mission and our goal is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that we see once again in our AP poll that the mainstream sports media is unwilling to do. We need your help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Go to groupoffiveguys.com, get you some Group of Five Guys swag. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a like, give us a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. In this show, we're going to recap a pretty wild weekend of week 6, and we're going to preview this fantastic midweek slate here coming up in week 7. Plenty more. We'll give you our picks to lock in before the weekend starts. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
Lee Corso is a guy who had a retirement party 10 years ago, and yet he still won't leave the office.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the group of five.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the group of five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the group of five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
I appreciate what you guys do, truthfully, covering the group of five. I mean, y'all said it earlier, but the Sun Belt to me is college football.
What a disappointing weekend it was for me and my South Florida Bulls. Let's just get it out in the open right now. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I'm off. I'm completely off the bandwagon. You cannot give up 56 points to the UAB Blazers in Birmingham with a screaming 4,500 UAB fans, by the way, which is shameful. I got to talk about that, too. We got a lot of places that got some fan issues right now, and I don't like it. But let's talk about it, guys. That was the most surprising thing for me of the whole weekend is not necessarily USF losing that game, but just getting absolutely blown out. I mean, their offense was without Byron Brown. I don't think they have positive yardage offensively the whole game. And then they let UAB do whatever they wanted to them. Murph, your running back finally got going for UAB.
Yeah, I've been saying it. I don't know where he's been, why he hasn't been getting the touches, but they finally gave it to him. Carried the ball 18 times, had 116 yards and 4 touchdowns, found the end zone 4 times. I mean, that guy's just a magnet for touchdowns. So it's been like, I've been just confused on why they haven't been giving him the ball, but glad to see that. And then Zeno, again, I mean, he's shown multiple games this season where he can dial it up, throw some big-time plays, but it was the explosive plays for me from UAB. I mean, the receiver, Tajon Palmer, 2 receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Caught the ball twice, took it to the distance twice, with his longest being, I think it was 67 yards. So you have explosive plays like that, control the ground game, put up that many points, you're gonna win ball games. So that's the UAB team that I thought was going to be here all season. They kind of disappeared for a couple weeks, and it seems like they found it again. So can they continue it going forward?
Well, and our boy Gilstrap, after getting that ass chewing last week, he had them DBs and that special teams dialed in this week. So congrats to UAB. That's a big win. I mean, that's a big conference win for them. But yeah, very disappointing. As soon as I got cocky, and as soon as the South Florida Bull fans got cocky on Twitter, they just go out and put out that showing. So
you were riding the bull. You were riding the bull all year last year, and they weren't winning a game. They're 3-3 right now. No. They've beaten 3 decent teams. They lost to, a normal powerhouse Alabama. They lost to UAB, who we've been saying, Jeff's been preaching it. They're pretty good. They just got destroyed by, to find out, a pretty good Louisiana team after a weather delay. And then who else they lose to?
Well, you know what it was, Jess, is the past 3 years they've been ascending. Week to week improvement the last 3 years. And this year, we might be winning, but we're not. The trend
They still can make a bowl game. I mean, that's
a
win for you.
I think they will make a bowl game. I'm just kidding.
You imagine the South Florida Bulls that are like watching the group of 5 guys, and they're like, finally. And then you're going to jump ship.
No.
It's not like it's NIU or Tulsa.
Well, NIU might be back, Jess. No, listen, I think they're going to make a bowl game, which is obviously a gigantic improvement versus the last few years. But I'm just going to tone it down just a notch. Tone it down just a notch on the Bulls. That was, for me, that was the most surprising outcome from the weekend. Did you guys have anything other than that was just absolutely shocking? I'll go to you first, Swag. Okay, Jeff, go take it.
I'm going to say Andrew Peasley, quarterback for Wyoming, looked like an absolute stud. That guy was locked in, ready to go, and he was the difference maker in that game because we knew their defense was top of the conference, might be top of the country, to be honest with you. We knew they could run the ball, but their question mark was, can Andrew Peasley be effective in the pass game? I thought he looked like an all-conference quarterback, and I don't know why he can't do that game in and game out. But he was throwing in rhythm. He was putting the ball on spots, on perfect timing. And then when it wasn't there, he is athletic enough to take off and run the ball for key first downs. If he can play like that every single game, look out for Wyoming. They're going to win the Mountain West because he was that much of a difference maker for that team. And if they're two-dimensional on offense and have a fantastic defense, I don't see too many people beating them.
Well, they got themselves a big one this weekend.
Huge.
And Wyoming, I mean, they're not that bad of a loss to Texas away from being, for sure a top 25 team, and they probably should be pretty close to being a top 25 team as is. We didn't have any group of 5 teams in the AP. Bunch of them receiving votes. Tulane, Wyoming, Air Force, James Madison, all them receiving votes, but. Yeah, I agree with you. Jeff. I mean, they came out and pretty much, the score wasn't a blowout, but they pretty much dominated Fresno State.
Yep.
So, what were you going to say, Swaggy?
First off, I didn't realize Jeff was going to talk about Wyoming, but before the game, before this past week, I called a blowout by Fresno State. I thought they were going to go in there and handle business, but we kind of just found out how hard it is to win at Wyoming as Texas Tech. Group of 5 related, nothing too shocking. I'll get into one shocking here in a second on my team who to watch for, but I don't understand, Sprouse, how hard it is for a coach getting paid $10 million a year. How hard it is, even if an offensive coordinator calls a play to say run the ball with 27 seconds left and it's third down. Why do you not have the power to stop that play or call timeout and say, no, we're gonna take a knee here? Miami Hurricanes. Shout out to Buster Faulkner and G Wade. 27-point favorite underdogs. Miami Hurricanes. I mean, throwing bottles trash at the players after they score. That was atrocious by the Miami Hurricanes in the ACC. Power 5 coaching looks to be suspect.
Well, yeah, now you know why FIU fired that guy a decade ago. I mean, geez.
That's a good point.
I mean, doesn't every coach in the land have one of those? It's on the call sheet. 1 minute left, 2 timeouts. Here's what we can do. 1 minute left, no timeouts. Here's what we can do.
The Beanie Bowl was for. I
That's
thought we
what
went over this
you do
in
a little
camp.
dress rehearsal. Yeah. You think so. That was an embarrassing outcome there. Tip, did you have anything that surprised you from the weekend?
Yeah, this surprised me a lot. It was in the Marshall-NC State game. Marshall was definitely the better team, I felt like, in this game. And they turned the ball over, threw an interception, kind of later in the game, and NC State goes up 2 scores. But the fact that Rasheen Ali, their running back, only had 14 carries this game. Again, I know they had to they had to come back and they needed to score points quickly, but you got to get one of, if not your best offensive weapon, the ball more. You got to find a way to get him the ball. Whether if it's carries, he can also catch the ball very well too. I just felt like they weren't getting him the ball enough in the second half to get them a better chance to win that game. I felt like they should have won that game, but turnovers were super costly and it turned into points for NC State. But I was just surprised that Rasheen Ali didn't get the ball as much as he did.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that game quite a bit, but you can't turn it over in a game like that. Cannot turn it over if you're going to win that game. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about a team or a player that we haven't really been talking about a ton, who we need to start paying attention to. Jeff Murphy, I'm starting with you first on this. Give me a team or a player we need to start paying attention to now.
Well, I'm going to go a player that we haven't mentioned in the last few weeks because he hasn't been on the field, but Frank Harris played against Temple. Pretty good stat line, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and you tack on an additional rushing touchdown. So if UTSA is going to make their run, this is the time they got to do it. They start, they're in conference now. These are the games that matter. He's got to show up week in and week out and be the player that, frankly, I thought he was going to be this season. Now, he hadn't been on the field as much to prove it. Start your run now. Go for it. Lead this team to the American Championship and get another title. Keep an eye out for Frank Harris.
Yeah, I got 3 quick things on that, Jeff. One, JT Clark, I saw that they may redshirt him.
I kind of figured they might be leaning that way.
Second thing on that game, EJ Warner had a hell of a day too, didn't he?
I was going to say 5 TDs.
Yeah, 5 TDs for EJ Warner. And then third thing, I'm very interested to see, and it's in the next 3 weeks or so, we'll start seeing it. How many of these teams that maybe struggled earlier in the year in the non-conference are going to rattle off a bunch of wins in a row in conference play? And then on the other hand, how many teams that won a Power 5 game or won some non-conference games, and now we're going to get into conference play, you're going to see these teams start winning. I immediately think UTSA. I immediately think Boise State. Coming with 3 losses, they may just run through the Mountain West, win 10 games, and win the conference like they do. So very interested to see some of these teams. So UTSA, Frank Harris, good one to watch out for. Tip, who you got? Give me a team or player to start looking out for.
I got a team, and that team is the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. After an embarrassing Week 1 loss at the University of Miami, they've won 5 in a row, and they've won back-to-back MAC games against Kent State and Bowling Green. I know it's, not the best MAC teams, but they're 2-0 in conference play. They go to Western Michigan this week, which is a very, very winnable game. So you're looking at Miami has a chance to be 3-0 going into a game at home against Toledo. And then the week after that, they go to Ohio. So this month, we're going to find out really quick if Miami of Ohio Redhawks are for real in the MAC.
Yeah, and Gabbert's red hot too. Low key, he's red hot. Interested, maybe take a trip to Oxford. I'm going to stay on the same page with you, Tip. I'm going to go with the Bobcats of Ohio. I mean, lose week 1 or I think it was week 0 to San Diego State by a touchdown. 4th in the country in overall defense behind only Air Force, which that's a little different because they keep the ball all game, behind Michigan and Penn State. So Ohio's defense, I mean, they are just absolutely dominating teams. And you're right. Now, Ohio's got they've got Western Michigan and NIU, and then Miami of Ohio's got Western Michigan and Toledo, a little tougher game. But if they both take care of business, that sets up for a monster game at Ohio Halloween weekend. And look out. Both of those teams, great defenses. Curtis Rourke, again, quietly playing well. Gabbert
looks like he's healthy now.
Yep,
Curtis
looks
Rourke.
healthy. He's playing well. You know what? Neither one of them turn it over, which is a big stat to look for. I think both of them got two picks each on the year, I think, which is not bad at all. But there's some good teams in the MAC right now. Swaggy, what about you? Player or team we got to start paying attention to right now?
Starting to feel like 2021 again. I'm loving it. Let's look at Louisiana, Raging Cajuns. The upset, in my eyes, against Texas State, who I screwed them. I said I was on the bandwagon. You don't want me on the back of your wagon. A lot of weight. Reason they're doing so good, though, Zion Chris, this quarterback freshman, he's a baller. I'm telling you right now, they'd be 5-1 right now if he started week 1 against ODU. This team is someone you look out for. Troy Trojans in South Alabama. They're not going to have just some easy route to the representing the West. Louisiana, this team is real. And Zion Chris, he's having a phenomenal year so far. They're on a bye week this week, and my other team to look out for, because I'm getting so much shit on Twitter. I mean, for 3 weeks now, because I said something good about Georgia State. God forbid I said somebody gave Georgia State some praise. Georgia State host Marshall. Marshall coming off a horrible loss. Look out for Georgia State. Bounce back home in front of 1,000 diehard Blue Panther fans. And then we have Louisiana, Georgia State next week. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and, man, Louisiana is one of the ones. I tweeted out that they deserve a better showing from their community. and the excuse machine was cranked up so high by these people on why they don't go to the games. I would just rather people just say, hey, man, I'm not that interested, and that's why I don't go. That would be a better excuse. But every one of these quote unquote fans that, yeah, I'm not saying these ones in particular on Twitter because some of them had legitimate excuses, but it's like every school that has a problem with fans. Their fans only come out when the team's struggling, and they start hashtagging fire this guy, fire that guy, do this, do that, and then they're like, well, why don't you go? Well, we need a winning team. Okay, here's you a winning team. Well, there's this going on. There's the high school. It was a Friday. It was a midweek game. Okay, well, here's you a Saturday game. Well, we got to have well, here's a game for first place in the conference, and they still don't go, and they just keep moving the goalposts over and over and over again, finding an excuse to not go. Why not just say, hey, you know what, man? I really just don't like football that much, or I really don't care, or hey, man, I'd rather sit on my couch. At least that's a better excuse. Some people were saying the concessions were too high at Louisiana. Brother, they got $2 natties in Lafayette. that ain't no expensive damn concessions.
Damn.
I mean,
I'm cheap, but come on now. You can't use that as an excuse.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I just, to me, what it shows more than anything, and I know we get crap for blaming fans, and we don't want to blame the fans, but these schools, there's just some kind of a disconnect between the university and the community, and they've got to fix it. Yeah, they've got to have, hell, even Statesboro sells out their stadium. They got businesses promoting the Georgia Bulldogs on social media in Statesboro. It's just, there's got to be some incentives. I don't know what the answer is, but it just drives me nuts when you have a potential conference champion, especially Louisiana. You've got, 4 Sun Belt West championships in the last 5 years? I mean, my God, what do you guys want? You're not going to get, I mean, you just can't. And then people, when I shared something about App State selling out on a Tuesday night, and you have, as much as I think it's ridiculous, you have a large percentage of that fan base that is unhappy with the current head coach and is unhappy with their current success or lack thereof, but they still show up and they support that team. You know what that does? When a recruit shows up on a Tuesday night, or you turn it on ESPN tomorrow night and watch App State, do this. Watch App State tomorrow night and then watch the Conference USA games the rest of the week and look at the difference in the crowd, and then ask yourself, wow, if there's a high school kid that's pretty good in my community, I wonder where he would rather play. So I don't know. I'm done. I'm off my high horse. Sorry, I get worked up about that stuff. We got to talk about football. American Conference. Jeff, you talked about UTSA already a little bit. They gave up a ton of points, and that defense was supposed to be the strong suit. So they've got to look at that now. But you're right, Frank Harris came to play, and if you score 49 points against anybody, you're probably got a pretty good chance to win the game.
Yeah, that was going to be my one concern with them, was how many points they did give up to a Temple offense that has some good pieces, but I don't think they should be scoring that many points. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there with that defense, but they're going to need to play a whole lot better than that going forward, because they're going to have a tough stretch coming up. But if Frank Harris can put up that type of production and this offense can roll, I mean, I like the Roadrunners going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And then I also talked about USF and UAB. Like I said, USF's offense, Byron Brown is a star, but without him throwing or running, they don't do anything offensively. So they've got to figure out a run game with a running back. And then UAB on the other side, 11 different players had a reception in that game. So your guy Zeno was throwing it all over the place. And I know some of those were late when the game was, out of hand. So you might have had some other guys in there, but still, you get 11 guys with a catch. Pretty impressive. North Texas loses to Navy 27-24. Navy, who knows? They're gonna piss off some people and ruin a season or two, I think, along the way here. And then UConn beat Rice.
That's atrocious. Rice,
yeah, pretty bad. 38-31. UConn gets that win, and then FAU gets it done against Tulsa. FAU's defense came to play. You had some of the growing pains, I guess, from the young quarterback at Tulsa. But FAU gets that win 20-17. What you got, Swag?
This was Florida Atlantic Tulsa game. It wasn't on for YouTube TV. I couldn't find it, so I couldn't watch it. So, but I had some, on it, and I was over here just for 3 hours. I'm just hitting refresh, just watching that game. Looked great via text on how the game went. I mean,
didn't you? You
FAU's
had Tulsa,
defense,
didn't you?
I did have. Well, I had Tulsa. I had them +3, so I ended up being, breaking even on it. But Florida Atlantic, man, they were driving the ball on Tulsa from what it looked like. I mean, nonstop. They were always in the red zone. I mean, they probably should have beat Tulsa by 2 or 3 scores, the way it looked.
Yeah, and we'll see what FAU can do as the new member of this conference. See which one of these new members is gonna start establishing themselves. If it's not going to be UTSA, but who knows? Conference USA, all midweek games this month, so we got a bunch of games to pick here at the end of the show. In the MAC, you had some interesting games, and Western Michigan. They end up losing 41-28 to Mississippi State, but they played Mississippi State real tough. And I know Mississippi State is not, they're not your top of the tier SEC school, but Western Michigan ain't your top of the tier MAC school. So, but they played that game really tight. They were in it all game. You got behind a little bit late and were trying to play catch up, but they played well there. Toledo, I was real worried in the beginning of that game because UMass came out looking pretty good, but then Toledo flexed their muscle a little bit, get that win 41-24. Boy, Buffalo, 37 points. Central Michigan, 13. Central Michigan, are they just going to collapse after their big South Alabama win, or what? They're just going to lose the rest of the way?
Seems like it, yeah. Again, you see these teams week to week where they have a big win and then they just have this huge drop off, but we thought that about Buffalo. Like, God, Buffalo can't win a game. They look terrible. 2-0 right now in conference.
That's right. Matters. Well, is that one of the teams that we just talked about earlier? You struggle in the non-conference in the early season, and you never know. You never know. Like, we're not watching every single game, from start to finish. So you don't know. Maybe some of these teams are losing and they're just being very vanilla on offense. Maybe they're not. They're just. Yeah. They're just okay. They're not going to obviously tell their team or the fans that, but maybe the coaches are like, hey man, let's just go out there. Let's keep it real simple and see what we can do.
Well, you got to think too, that some of these teams, they're built to beat teams in their conference, right? So you play out of conference, they might not necessarily match up as well, but when you get into conference, that's what they're kind of set up for.
That's
you
right.
See some teams making some runs. So who knows?
That's right. Yeah, you're recruiting against the best team, and you're recruiting to try and beat the best team in your conference. Like the NFL, you're drafting a left tackle because the team you got to play twice a year has a really good defensive end or pass rusher. So that's what they're doing sort of at the college level too. Eastern,
real quick, they got Bowling Green and Kent State coming up in the next 2 weeks. So Buffalo's got a chance to be 4-0 in conference play after the next 2 weeks. But after that, brutal 3-game stretch at Toledo, at home against Ohio, at Miami of Ohio. So that 3-week stretch right there is gonna show a lot about this Buffalo team.
That's gonna determine that season for them. And I don't want to speak too soon, but I did have them as my dark horse in the MAC. I kind of came off of that. I wasn't going to talk about it, and now they big win here. Start talking about it.
Oh,
but
no.
When that 3-game stretch comes, I'll quit talking about it again. Eastern Michigan beats Ball State 24-10. There's your Miami of Ohio tip. Red Hawks 27-0. A little shutout. Their defense is stout, man. If you're a defensive guy, go to that Miami versus Ohio game. It'd probably be whatever the under is on that game. Take it now. I mean, it could be that game's going to be 10-7. But and then Ohio beats Kent State. Kent State's just really struggling. 42-17. Swaggy. I mean, your Huskies of NIU. 55 points. Ontario Brown, 13 carries, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. They just, that's what they got to do. I mean, we've been telling them, you just got to run the ball.
I figured it out week 6. Yeah.
Just in time for conference play, Jess.
Figure it out. Yeah. No,
I mean, I don't think Lombardi's going to New York, but maybe.
That's all I wanted. I just wanted Lombardi just sounds like a sexy Heisman name, and they took it away from me.
Yeah.
Until a nephew or a kid of his.
Yeah. Well, somebody put on Facebook we should do a group of 5 Heisman. We'll have to call it. Well, that's a good idea. We'll have to call it something else though. Maybe like I don't know. I don't know who the closest I don't know. We'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure
But
it out.
but I don't know who would be your favorite right now. If we did have one, who's your favorite in the group of 5B right now? Anybody? I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but
I mean, you gotta go Kamani Vidal right now after the performance he had last week. Plus,
not bad. He's leading the country right now in
the
rushing,
country
huh?
in rushing. So it's hard to say that he's not at least in the conversation.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. You know, normally they want it to go to a quarterback, but here's the deal: you can't put Pratt in there.
I really
'cause
like
he
Blake.
has
I like
missed a
Blake
bunch.
Watson a lot. Memphis.
I like Blake Watson a lot. We're gonna find out about Blake Watson on Friday night because
Sure.
if you were ever gonna give it to a defensive player, watch that damn 0 on Tulane Friday night.
I know they just lost to Wyoming, but I think you got to put Mikey Keene up there too. I think he's top 3, top 5.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's gonna be. Yeah, have we heard anything on that? Is he?
I hadn't seen an update yet.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. Vidal's a good one. Watson's a good one. Brett Gabbert, not bad.
They continue to win.
Yeah, they continue.
Still early.
Hell, you give it to Dan. Any of the Air Force running backs. I mean, they're having a field day.
Austin Reed.
Or Corley.
Corley, yeah.
Be in the conversation.
I'd probably give it to Corley before I gave it to Reed. I don't know why, but
Did
anyway.
you see him give the Louisiana Tech fan
Yes.
like the oxygen?
Fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, there's some things like
I wish I'd go back in time and do something cool like that. I'd be too
do you
scared.
do you ever wish you were like played a different position so you could do cool stuff sometimes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I was too tired. I just want to get back to my chair.
Yeah.
Just sit down.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I was the guy just waving at them. They're making fun of me. I'm just like, yeah, I know. Balding at 20. I know.
just laughing on the sideline, just like, yeah, that was a pretty good one. Pretty good one, Sprouse. Did you hear that guy? Mountain West Conference. We talked about it a little bit. Wyoming getting it done. Wyoming is they're pretty damn good, man. They are really good. But they beat Fresno State. I mean, and they had that game. Like I said earlier, I don't think there wasn't really a time when I felt like Wyoming wasn't going to win. You know, once they first took the lead on that game. But I don't know. What'd you see, Jeff?
I saw just a domination up front by Wyoming. I mean, their defense is everything as advertised. Easton Gibbs leads that defense. I think on the first series he came up and just laid a huge hit on the running back, and they held Fresno State to 38 yards rushing. And I know Fresno State likes to throw the ball a lot, but they haven't been just terrible on the ground. So anytime you turn an offense into a one-dimensional offense, it just everybody can play free. Your D-line now can come off the edge. Your defensive backs can play loose because there's it's obvious passing downs, third and long situations. So Mikey Keene was never really comfortable. He never looked like he was in the pocket, knowing what he was seeing. He made some decent throws. He didn't look as crisp as he has in weeks past, and that's just a credit to that defense. And like I said, Peasley, he has been the missing piece to this team. If he can throw like he did last week, they're my favorites to win the conference if he does that every single week, because that defense is just a nightmare for offenses. I cannot wait to see this matchup this coming week between them and the Falcons.
Didn't even realize they were playing till right now.
Top 5 group of 5
This is
matchup.
It's an interesting game because of the style that Air Force plays, and so I think Wyoming's defense is going to give Air Force a really tough time, very tough time. But at the same time, I worry about Wyoming's offense getting in any kind of rhythm. I don't know. A lot of people are in my head on Twitter saying Air Force hadn't played anybody yet, but they just been beating the crap out of everybody.
Let me just go ahead and screw this team over because
oh boy,
Wyoming coming off of a huge win.
That's right.
This happens in the Mountain West, and
Air
now they're
Force coming off a
Air
bye,
Force
too.
beats them by 21 points next week.
Air Force is coming off a bye week too. But let me throw a little wrinkle in there.
Save a horse.
Wow.
Falcon a cowboy.
Little wrinkle though for you, Jess. The Falcons play Navy next week, so little,
Oh no, yeah. So then Air Force loses to Navy.
That's right. That's exactly what'll happen,
yeah,
isn't it?
no
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. No, yeah. That's a freaking monster game on Saturday. Then so Colorado State, Utah State. Colorado State was up with 17-0 quick in this game, and then Utah State just blew the doors off. I didn't really watch. I don't think that was on TV at all. I didn't watch it, but
Cooper Legas had a nice game. Quarterback for Utah State.
I
Should
think
be
that
a
was
high scoring game this weekend then with Fresno State and Utah State.
Yeah, I was looking at
I
that
imagine.
too. Yeah, depending on Mikey Keene's situation. And then San Jose State and Boise State. This game, I think one of the announcers said it on this game. This was for San Jose State. This is like the second or third game this year where they come out firing and looking really good, and they just something happens and they just give it up at the end. And Boise, I mean, I was sending you guys texts about that damn quarterback situation because in the first quarter, both quarterbacks looked pretty bad. And I was like, they're going to screw up both of these kids. But then in the second half, they both look good. I mean, Taylor Green had a nice touchdown run. Maddox was throwing it all over the place. And look out. And by the way, what was second all-time attendance at Boise State? I think they said. So let me go back to my earlier point, right? Boise State fans are calling for Avalos to be fired. They got 3 losses already. And they're setting records. I mean, it's just.
I am somehow.
I just don't get it, man.
I am somehow in a Broncos group me page on Facebook. I don't know how I got in there. And every Saturday, I am just bombarded with notifications about people either praising or hating week to week play from Boise State. There was no reason for that. I was just more saying, I'm seeing the complaints, I'm seeing the praise. Some people love the coach, some people hate the coach.
Well, they've been inconsistent. I mean, in this game they looked really bad to start, but then they looked pretty good late in the second half. And then the game we were at, the Memphis game, they looked fantastic in the first quarter, and then they just completely stopped.
Yeah, well,
Is there a small child screaming?
Yeah, sorry,
that small child.
That's
all right.
That's my youngin'. But hey, you know who has looked apart all season? Ashton Genty continues to be the dominant force, the consistent force in that offense. They just need to continue to run it through him. I mean, he is 24 carries, 167 yards, pretty good day. And I don't know if anybody remembers this name that I kept saying before the season. Eric McAllister is turning into a star as a wideout for Boise State. Now, if they can ever get a consistent quarterback to throw the ball, he'd even have a better day. But 5 catches, 170 yards, and a touchdown, he's a stud.
Yeah, they're worried about Genty holding on to the ball there. So, Boise, if you ever get into a situation late game, you're up, go ahead and take the knee. Would be the way to do it there.
Mario Cristobal.
Well, he's probably recruiting the same kids from Oregon there and then Boise State. But anyway, so Boise gets it done. I got a feeling they're going to just turn it on now. This is what they do. They look so bad in these non-conference games, and then you're going to get to the conference games, and they're going to look so good. But that's to your point, Jeff. I mean, they're recruiting and they're building a roster to win the Mountain West. They're not building a roster to beat Memphis. So that's where you look at there. Sun Belt Conference, guys, we got to talk a little more Marshall, NC State. Marshall, like you said, Tip, Rasheen Ali, he didn't get it a ton. We talked about NC State being able to stop the run, but he didn't. I mean, average per carry wasn't terrible. But yeah, I think they just got to go through him. They got to go through him every week, not just this game.
Right, exactly. I mean, you got to find a way to get your stars the ball. A screen pass, a bubble route, something. He can catch the ball. I know you were down 2 scores late in the game. You got to throw the ball. I understand that, but you can be creative. You can find ways to get him the ball.
Well, and what also kept NC State turned it over a ton. I mean, they threw a bunch of interceptions. It wasn't even the kid that normally throws interceptions. It was the backup, and he was throwing them too. But that kept you in the game. But then at the same time, you can't get it back to him.
I'm going to call this guy out. Anybody watch the full game?
Yeah.
All right. I get it. You're an offensive lineman. You're passionate. You're trying to be very protective of your quarterback. But just because you have a guy that touches your quarterback when he slides and then you're going to get a personal foul, 15 yards. You know what play I'm talking about? The offensive lineman goes and pushes a defensive lineman in the fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, when a drive was about to ensue to go and try to tie the game up. Again, I get it. You're a big macho offensive lineman. You care about your quarterback. Don't touch. That's my guy. That's my brother. You're a damn idiot because it wasn't even a hard hit. He didn't even touch the quarterback, really. I hate offensive linemen that try to be macho man Randy Savage just to look like a badass on television. I'm not saying you cost your team a game, but you definitely cost your team that drive because granted it was still first down, but you could have got 15 more yards up. Who knows? There's probably a certain play call you have when you get inside the 40. Now you're back behind the 50 and you end up punting the ball. Selfish play, man. Selfish play. I mean, I watched some SEC football too this past weekend. Anybody watch the Georgia-Kentucky game? How many personal fouls can you get in one game for Kentucky against Georgia? It's just stupid play. Stupid plays. Well, you're Marshall, you can't do that against NC State. If you're Kentucky, you cannot do that against Georgia.
Not only that, it comes down to, like we always say it, like especially in these big games you're playing in Power 5 school, it comes down to like 3 or 4 plays. You talk about that play was a penalty, and then I thought Fancher had a good game, but if you want to win games like these, you got to make plays, and you got to not turn it over. He misses a wide open touchdown pass in the second half. I mean, you got to hit those. That changes the dynamic, changes the momentum of the game. And then you throw that pick when you were driving only down by 7, which now they get the ball in the red zone and then they score it. So you're talking 3 or 4 big plays that could change the complexity of the game. And I thought he played well, but he
played
what?
He played that group of 5 like, hey man, good game. We almost had him. That's what he played like. He didn't play like a champion. Like, oh man, we whipped their ass. You played fantastic. You made that play on that rollout. You didn't throw it 5 yards short into the ground. How many times did I see him do that? But he did have some. The guy's a player.
He is.
His touchdown, his last touchdown pass was a freaking strike over the middle.
Yeah.
But I could never be a head coach because I would be so emotional on the sideline. I was just so fired up at the house. Ugh.
Yeah, there's a time and place for that as that penalty for the O lineman. Like do that in practice, or you do that like you just got to be smart, man. You got to know you're in a game like that when, like you guys been just saying, like every single play, every yard, every possession could swing the momentum the other way. And there's just a time and place to be a hard ass and a time and place to do the smart thing and lay off.
A bad hit. It wasn't even a bad hit. I'll go on record and say it was not even a bad hit. So
yeah,
you're just trying to be macho Randy Savage. Buttered sausage.
The team that old Swaggy's looking out for, the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana.
Shocked the world, except for Spurs.
Yeah. Did I pick them? I did because I
thought you said something.
I said Terry would beat Creme Brulee's ass.
In the words of Jeff, there's a time and place for a text message, and that was not the time.
What did I say in the text message?
You said, "Am I the only one that had Louisiana winning?"
I think
and I was just like,
yes.
I don't even look at the group. I don't even look at the group message on Saturdays because I don't need to hear y'all throwing up all these stats and who's winning and stuff when I can't keep up with it.
We're trying to help you keep up.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop. We already talked about this. I don't like people talking about games whenever I'm
watching other games.
Can't watch them all.
I think I'm the only one that picked Utah State over Colorado State too. I had a good day. I had a pretty good day picking against y'all. Anyway, but Louisiana looks good. I think, unfortunately for them, I think Troy has really hit their stride. But other than Troy, Louisiana's got to be. I mean, they control their own destiny right now. So, but 34-30. South, yeah. South
they got beat by James Madison, but they destroyed La Monroe last week.
Let's
not forget it. So,
you're right.
You're right. They're 1-1 in the conference right now.
It's wide open. The West.
It is wide open.
It's the Wild Wild West. It is wide open.
Except for Troy.
Even Texas State, they lost. They're still right there in
Madison.
it.
Wide open in the East. And you know what? We're going to get to Troy, but why am I getting attacked on Twitter about Troy beating Arkansas State when I never once said Zachary Branner that Arkansas State was going to beat Troy?
Why were you getting
tagged
attacked
by Troy fans saying Swag Bear, what do you think about this score? I'm like, no, that's how it should be. I reckon. I think they're getting Swagbear mixed with Tyler Tipton, who's on the Butch Jones train.
He was crying
you,
again.
Why don't you
Butch
check
Jones
the
was
tape
crying
because-
again. Did you see him?
I did not.
Yeah,
But
he
check
cried
again.
again.
Well, I did say, I said John Summerall was going to make him cry, and he did. I guess maybe Summerall watched the podcast.
I think you picked
Check
but
the
I was
tape.
Arkansas State.
Flag Bear, check the tape.
I don't
said
think
Troy
you
was
said
gonna
it either.
cover. I said they were gonna. I said Troy was gonna cover.
He did,
Apparently
and I
Troy
took
Trojans
Troy to
think
cover
that I think
because of
Arkansas
what Tim
State was
said.
going to win. I don't know. I know you're watching, Zachary, and what?
Well, so
Anyways.
What?
back to Louisiana, Texas State.
Sorry.
No,
Get on here.
that's good. No, but Texas State, they looked good. I mean, they kind of just, I don't know what they did late in the game there and give up that lead, but you gotta be frustrated if you're a Texas State fan, because you had a chance to really, again, it's early, but to really separate yourselves and look like the favorite in the West, but give up that lead, and then, man, Louisiana again, you got everything to be excited about in Lafayette right now. For the love of God, get out there and support that team.
Yeah,
But-
that block punt changed the momentum of that game, and credit Louisiana for taking advantage of it, and Deion Chris showed up. I think this is going to be a huge like we talk about how teams lose a big game and it, really kickstart. I think this is going to be a big learning curve for Texas State. I think this loss is going to help them in the long run.
Well, and they played pretty good. They had the game won, so that's something to look at for that game. You talked about Troy. I mean, pretty dominant there. South Alabama dominant against Monroe. 55 points is a lot of points to score. So hopefully for them they get it going. And then here's your game in the Sun Belt. ODU and Southern Miss, man. 17-13. Hattiesburg, they're going. That coach's seats.
I've never been more wrong on a dark
warming up.
horse. That was my dark horse, Southern Miss. They ain't good. They
No.
might be the worst team in the Sun Belt.
Yeah,
Name me one. Name me a team worse than them in Sun Belt.
can't
3,
do it.
2,
Can't do it.
1. They're the worst team. Arkansas State is better than Southern Miss. Butch Jones can dry his tears when he plays Southern Miss.
What? Yeah, so that was a game of two teams that tend to play down to their opponent, and they played down to each other. That is for sure there in Hattiesburg. Jeff, before we make some picks, we got some locks, we got some underdog picks, we got all kinds of good stuff. Do we have a Southern Roots radio commercial? Our partners there in Nashville area.
We sure
The
do.
Nashville area.
Into the same music playlist, we got just what you need. Southern Roots Radio is an audio magazine rooted in Americana, curating music, culture, and sports to a stubbornly independent audience. Go check them out at southernrootsradio.com, or you can download their app on either the Apple or Google Play Store. Southern Roots Radio. Come on in and stay a while.
Here's the deal, and shout out to our guys there at Southern Roots. I'm going to start at the bottom of the list here. I'm a little bit ill-prepared on my paper here in front of me on what we decided on. Over-under. I'm looking at two of these things. See what you guys think. I'm looking at UAB and UTSA over 65.5. And I'm looking at tomorrow night's Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders game over 54.5. Tip, let me go to you first. You always seem to be
I like that one. I like the second one you said.
La Tech in middle?
La Tech over. Yeah, I think that other one. I think the over-unders. I think it's too high, based on last week's results. UTSA's defense is really good, so I think with that one being in the 60s, I think that one's just. I think that was just a little bit too high. But both Louisiana Tech and MTSU, both these offenses can put up some points. So I, watching in person MTSU's defense against a good Jacksonville State offense. Don't get me wrong, but Louisiana Tech has Smoke Harris. They also have running back Tyree Shelton. So going to be tough to stop both of those guys for 4 straight quarters. So I like the over on that game.
I like it. Jeff, what did we say was our dog of the week? You had him. I just didn't put him on my notes here, so that's my fault here, guys.
No, you're good. We talked about, I think the dog of the week that we're going with is Georgia Southern money line at plus 152. I threw Coastal money line plus 205 at App State
did.
midweek. But I like Georgia Southern as the dog of the week, official dog of the week.
What are they, plus 205? Is that what it was?
Georgia Southern's plus 150.
150. Don't get mad, James Madison fan. This is a value. This is one of those picks. You got to pick something. So which underdog has the best chance to win? But I like it. I like that pick. And then lock of the week. We talked about this one too, Jeff. We actually talked about somebody covering plus 7, wasn't it? This is my apologies here, guys.
No, you're good. We said Wyoming plus 10.5 at Air Force on the road. I think that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I like Wyoming with the points, especially just how well their defense played with the run, the quick clock now with the rule
can't believe
change,
that's
Air Force. It's a lot of points.
I can't believe that's 10.5. Are you sure?
That's what I had it on FanDuel.
It's up to 11 now, so take that extra half point.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, that's a lot of points, and I'm biased. I'll probably pick Air Force to win that game, but not by 11 points.
Yeah. So I would say a lot. That'd be
neither one of those teams might not score 11 points in that game. So I like it. I like those three. So lock of the week, Wyoming plus 10.5 at Air Force. Dog of the week, Georgia Southern money line at James Madison, and taking La Tech and Middle Tennessee over 54.5. Better get that one quick because that game is tomorrow. Tip, you talked about Rasheen Ali. That cost me I had a little 5-pick power play on Prize Picks. Rasheen Ali had him at a half. Had him over a half touchdown. Rushing, receiving, throwing, whatever. Did not get it. So how you score 41 points and your best player doesn't have a touchdown is baffling to me. Because I was watching some of the other games, and I'm looking at the score. I'm like, surely he's got at least a touchdown by now. Did not. So we got to pick our games. A lot of midweek games this week. Let's just start chronologically. We'll start with the Tuesday games. La Tech at Middle Tennessee in Murfreesboro. Jeff, who you got?
Nick Vadiato and the Blue Raiders get back on track tomorrow. Me and Tip will be there rooting the faithful on. No, I really do. I think they get back on track. I think they play a complete game, start to finish, starting tomorrow. Blue Raiders. Get it done.
They lost to La Tech last year. It was the game.
Did.
It was the game when they should have rattled off a bunch in a row, and they lost to La Tech last year.
Payback.
These are the games. So right now, Coach Stock is telling them that everybody has written you off. There ain't going to be – he's preparing them. God, there ain't going to be nobody there. And there's not going to be anybody at that game except for you guys and the band and the band director. But I can't do it, guys. I'm still sick to my stomach. I'm going to pick La Tech and hope that changes our luck. Tip, what about you?
I'm going with MTSU at home. Offensive line of MTSU. This game is your chance right here. La Tech, defensive rushing. They've allowed 212 rushing yards per game. Now is the time. Let's keep Vadiato upright. Let's run the ball.
For the love of God.
And on defense, we got to stop Smoke Harris for 4 quarters. I mean, it's got to happen. But I think the MTSU running game gets going. I think, hopefully, this is what has to happen. Vadiato has to have time in that pocket to throw. And I don't know. I got a good feeling about it.
Nice.
And I will say there might be a few hundred more fans because last week was fall break in Rutherford County, which is the county for Murfreesboro.
Yep.
So
that's the other
might get
excuse.
a couple hundred
crank
more.
up the excuse machine. It's always a break. It's always something. It's fall break. It's homecoming at the local high school. It's Tuesday. The team sucks. I'm not donating a dime. See, you were never donating anyways. You were never there anyways.
Yeah, you know who will be there? The Tiptons, the Murphys, the Lannings will be screaming our heads off.
Well, I would be there if it wasn't 7 hours away from me, Jeff.
All 500 Blue Raider fans.
Swag, thoughts, questions, concerns? I don't know.
I'm going to take a page out of the old Swag Bear book and take a little turn here and go against everything everything y'all just said, because I know we're supposed to be a team here, and it's all about like, hey, what's the for sure play of the week? What's the over under? The fact that y'all think that Wild Tech and MTSU is going to hit the over with that garbage O line for MTSU tipped it. I didn't even think about it until you said O line. Do you recall what happened for the right tackle? Do you think Wild Tech, a Division I program, is not watching film and saying all we have to do is attack that side?
Still scored 30.
can't run. Vadiotto can't run to the left. He only runs to the right. Attack that side. I look at this. I look at this memorabilia around my room. I look at Middle Tennessee. This is back when we were a really good ball club, Armed Forces Bowl. Louisiana Tech rides all over the Blue Raiders tomorrow, Tuesday night. It's going to be a bloodbath. The Blue Raiders, they're not even going to make a bowl game. Jeff, hope you have some good, strong drinks, my friend, because it's going to be a long night.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
Hey,
love Blue Raiders. Love it. But God.
I'm with you. I can't unsee what I witnessed the other
Get
night.
your ass in the NIL and find some and transfer some offensive linemen from 1AA schools and get them to Murfreesboro, because what you have going on right there is a travesty and embarrassment to college football.
Go up to Austin P. Go over to Chattanooga. Go over to Martin. I mean, go to TSU.
Austin P. Go to Austin P. Get somebody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't. Mike Polly, you're listening to this. Sorry. I'm sorry what you have to work with. It is horrible. Attack me on Twitter. I don't care. It was 10 years ago when I played. Watch my film. I don't care. Y'all are horrible.
You have regressed.
The O-line have regressed. Josh Walker, who didn't watch college football, is calling me saying, like, what is going on? I'm like, Josh, you would go blind if you try to watch this offensive line play. La Tech, and we can take the over. Yeah, if La Tech scores 56 points,
they might.
Next
Middle scored 30 last week.
They might score 56 off of
They did.
scores.
They did. You're right. They did. And then they realized, wait a minute, they can't block us.
All right.
Hey, huge game. Liberty at Jacksonville State. I'm going to tell you, I think Jacksonville State is going to be rocking. I think they're going to show out for the Conference USA, and if nobody else will do it. Liberty will do it. Nobody else will do it in Conference USA. I think Jacksonville State's going to be that team. I think there's going to be a pretty good environment with the Flames coming in. A lot of people saying the Flames haven't played anybody. I think Liberty is going to try to establish a little bit of dominance. Really lift their leg and piss on the fire hydrant and establish themselves as the alpha in this conference. I think Liberty, big. Swag.
I agree. I'll make it quick. I do. I think Jacksonville State didn't play a really good team last week, and Liberty got tested against Sam Houston. They are going to make a statement against Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State's going to finally play. They're going to get their first ass whipping of the season, I feel like.
Tip.
Yeah, I keep going back because Jacksonville State has looked good, and I got to see them live last week, and that comeback they made against MTSU, I mean, the defense is for real. And I mean, Liberty had a little bit of a scare. They didn't play their best game last week against Sam Houston State, but I think Liberty does find a way to win this game. But what's the line? 6.5, 6?
Yep.
What, somewhere around there?
6.5.
I think Jacksonville State
Six.
covers.
Six.
I think they cover. I think it's another close game, but Liberty finds a way to win.
Murph.
Liberty won a close one at home. They're going to be on the road. You know who's kin to the Gamecock Sprouse? The Chanticleer. I think it's going to be the weekend of the Rooster.
Wow.
I think Jacksonville State wins at home. Knocks Liberty down a couple notches on our poll.
Wow. And that'll knock
Question is,
Jacksonville
who's the quarterback
State.
going to be? That's the question.
Mhm.
Whoever's got the hot hand.
Guess we'll find out Thursday at walkthroughs.
Well, you just said something.
Or not. That's tomorrow. Not today.
That game's tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still
Jeff,
thinking about right tackle.
Jeff, you just said something about the weekend of the Rooster, which brings us to our next ball game. Our Tuesday night game, which is already sold out, which is in arguably the most hostile environment in the group of five. Coastal going to App State. App State, 5.5-point favorites as of yesterday. Are you picking the Chanticleers, Jeff Murphy?
You're damn right I am. I think that Coastal is dying for a win. I think they are desperate for a win, and you have senior leadership in McCall, in Pinckney, and they are going to will this team to victory. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a battle, but if you're going to give me experience at the quarterback position, experience at the skill positions, and honestly, neither defense has really looked fantastic this year. So give me the Chanticleers.
Tip?
I have to go with App State to win this game at home. Coastal Carolina, let's see, App State favored by 6. I think Coastal covers that. Like Murph said, they are desperate for a win. They desperately need a win. This is a must-win game for Coastal Carolina, but I just think they come up just a little short. And also got Coastal Carolina to cover plus 6 and over under 60.5. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'd take the over.
I think this is a must-win game for both of them. I think there's a lot of pressure on both of these teams here. Man, I have no idea. I'm going to pick the Mountaineers of App State because Steeple_PC_51 ain't giving a pregame speech to the Chants like he gave to the voicemail the other day. But I just think, Jeff, talk about the senior leadership. Where is it? Where's it been?
Shows up
And
on the road.
I just think that place is going to be cranked up. I think App State's going to be just flying around. They've been tested, even though it's been some interesting games. They've played a bunch of close games already. I like App State at home. Swag Bear.
In the past, like maybe 6 days ago, I used to be a believer of the must win, gotta win. They're desperate for a win. That doesn't matter anymore because no matter how bad you want it, if the other team's better, you're gonna get beat. Probably the most important pick of all 4 of us, because out of the past 2 years to this game, I've been 100% correct on. 2021, I chose Coastal Carolina at App State. They blew them out. 2022, I chose App State at Coastal Carolina. App State blew them out. So it seems to be a away team usually wins. I see Jeff over there just kind of looking like, hurry, speed it up. All I'm going to say is,
I was reading the live chat.
All I'm going to say is App State is going to remember that embarrassing loss they took at App State in 2021. They're a better football club. Coastal Carolina is struggling. Grayson McCall, he's a fantastic player, but is he going to get it going when you have 38,000 screaming, crazy Boone, North Carolina App fans? It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. They win this game, they're going to take it to the East because Marshall's going to be down. If they lose to Georgia State, App State wins big tomorrow night. Must win, gotta win, desperate for a win. That don't matter anymore. That I've seen too many teams just get pulverized after that.
As you were talking, I was sitting there looking, and the Boone crowd is going to be awesome. I think the Jacksonville State crowd is going to be pretty good. And in the middle crowd, you're going to have 3 games on TV, and one of them is just going to be absolutely embarrassing. Hopefully, the product on the field isn't embarrassing again this time on national television, but we shall see. Wednesday, UTEP at FIU. FIU going with the Miami Vice Field. Y'all see that? You got a little pink and blue South Beach Miami Vice Field. I think the Panthers are going to get it done at home. I don't trust UTEP at all. Tip.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. FIU, I think they win this game. UTEP, that's it's kind of a long way to travel. So I got to take that into consideration. And their quarterback, Gavin Hardison, he's just been inconsistent. And so I think FIU wins this game at home.
Murph?
Gavin Hardison shows up coming off the bye week. FIU loses to New Mexico State last week. I know they're at home. They're going to have all the things ready for them to win. Give me UTEP. Why not?
Were you about to say they're going to be at home? They're going to have, and then you realize they're probably not going to have a very electric atmosphere. Let me tell you something. A Wednesday night in Miami, there are plenty of things to do.
Oh, I know. Well, that's actually where I was going to go, was to all the things you could be doing. But then I was like, you know what? It's a PG show.
Yeah. Well, their students have been showing up a little bit. And granted, it's like a 50,000 student school, and they're getting 1,000 students. But it's better than they used to get. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Swaggy, who you got in that game?
I think it's an easy pick with FIU. I think this season they're going to get to a bowl game. This is a game you got to win. So, don't matter.
Oh, you're
Must win. Desperate for a
boy.
win.
Here we go.
Sorry. This is a game that they should
make
win.
this up.
There's a difference between have to win and they're desperate for a win. But if you want to go to a bowl game,
How are they different?
I think it's the same exact thing.
Brain's turning off. FIU should probably need to win this game to get to a bowl game, possibly.
I don't know how.
FIU.
I don't know
UTEP
how
stinks.
accurate.
And that out of all the teams, they're even worse than an NIU pick. And granted, I said NIU was going to probably play the Super Six, whatever. But
Super Six.
Super Six. I'm going back to Alabama High School right now. Super Six state
Just
championship, baby. Runner
Shut
up.
it down. Turn it off.
Shut it down. UTEP, they're struggling right now. 1-5. I think they're going to be 1-6. They may not win another ball game all year. FIU, they're turning things around down there, and this is a game they need to win.
They must win. Keon Jenkins, FIU quarterback, concussion protocol is expected to play Wednesday. So look out for that. Another Wednesday night game. See, here's your Wednesday night games in Conference USA where you're just going to look at the crowd and you're going to compare it to Boone. Now, New Mexico State, sometimes they do have a decent environment, but Sam Houston at New Mexico State Wednesday night. Let me tell you something. Sam Houston is probably the best 0-5 team in the history of college football.
I thought you were going to say best 0-5 team this year. Like, there's not that many 0-5 teams.
He might be the only one. But I think they're going to get to 1-5. I think they're going to get it done, man. I think they're due. I think they've been playing well. They've been improving. They've been getting closer and closer week to week. And I think they're going to get a win here. And for the rest of Conference USA, a.k.a. Middle Tennessee State, don't let them start winning some games now. And then you lose to them when they're freaking 1-5. I like Sam Houston in this game. Murph?
Give me the Aggies with Diego Pavia. I think he's playing better. He's at home. Let's go to New Mexico State.
Tip?
Diego Pavia at home, 2 games, 317 yards, 2 touchdowns. Last home game, 256 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He plays well at home. Give me New Mexico State to win this game at home. But close, because Sam Houston State is playing some really good football right now.
They are. Their defense is very good. Swag, what you got?
Diego Pavia is playing excellent right now. However, Sam Houston has a football team. Football gods are going to have their back.
They do have a football team. That's right.
Sam Houston, their team is – I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I broke character. Sam Houston, they are a very good football team. I think football gods are going to be on their side. By God, these guys got to get a win. It's like the only thing that's right because they're actually playing good football on a week-in, week-out basis. I mean, that last loss was ridiculous. So I think, like Sprouse, I like Sam Houston on their close game. Hopefully they can pull it out. Another fourth quarter nail biter where I think they actually pull out the win.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to Thursday night. The only Thursday night game is SMU at ECU. SMU 9-point favorites. To be honest with you, this is one I was tempted to have as a lock of the week. I think SMU is going to blow them out. I just don't think ECU is very good, unfortunately. What you got, Tip?
I said we should have locked it in when it was at 9 because they're favored by 12 now.
So that's what I saw earlier. It was 12.
Yeah. Maybe I just mistyped that. Maybe it's been 12. I don't know. I don't know where I get 9. Either way, I think I may have 2 touchdowns. I think they do that anyways. You're with me, Tip. Murph, what you got?
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, smooth.
Even though they're all salty, they're fans. It's something about a consonant MU. Consonant MU. SMU, JMU. Sensitive fans. I mean, you don't put them where you want them in the poll, and they're upset about it. I mean, SMU.
What's ECU want to be at?
No. SMU want to be in it. And they said our only losses are to Oklahoma and TCU. Buddy, TCU ain't good. Like, this is not the TCU that made the playoff. This is the TCU that lost 65-7 in the championship game is who this is. I mean, TCU hadn't beaten anybody. But anyway, and
they could be a top 10, though. I didn't put mind, but
that's
debatable. They're debatable.
Yeah, they're debatable, but
they're going to beat the hell out of ECU, though.
Yeah, they are.
Sure.
They are. Anyway, Fresno State at Utah State Friday night in Logan. Should be a pretty good environment there. 7.5 points is what I had Fresno at. I think Fresno gets this win. They might have to, especially depending on the quarterback situation. I think Utah State can cover that. What's up, Swaggy? Is it dropped?
It's 6 points now.
See, that's what happens. We got to get in these.
We
got to start talking about
personally,
these on Sunday.
I saw
these are
this.
high.
I saw this, and now we're talking about the locks. I'm like, -6 Fresno State, but if Mikey Keene's out, Vegas may know something. So I'm going to go with the upset here. Utah State's offense. Let's let it ride. It's tis the season, middle of the season, for things start getting shaken up a little bit. So I'm going to say Utah State pulls out the money line.
Mm-hmm.
Home dog.
That's a home dog. Tip, what you got?
Dog.
This one's pretty simple for me. If Mikey Keene plays, I think Fresno State wins. If he does not play, Utah State wins at home. But there is a chance if Mikey Keene, if it's an ankle, and if he does play, he might be limited, not be able to run as much. But I think he's talented enough throwing the ball that if he does play, they win the game. But if it going from 7.5 to 6, that tells me Mikey Keene might not be playing. But if he does play, I think they win. If he does not play, I like Utah State to win.
I'm not a doctor, but swollen ankle. I mean, am I wrong to think that getting up in the altitude, maybe a little colder weather, would not help?
It would not.
What's he got? A high ankle sprain?
I don't know the official
like that. Yeah.
diagnosis.
Nah,
but
ankle sprain. He ain't playing.
I think whether Mikey Keene plays or if it's Logan Fife, he's had plenty of experience last year and this year. I think this Fresno State Bulldog defense got a little bit embarrassed last week. I think they're going to be pissed off. And Cooper Legas is not Andrew Peasley, at least how Andrew Peasley played last week. I think Fresno State wins whether they have Fife or Keene at quarterback.
I like it. Now, this next one might be the game of the week all across the board. Friday night, I'm glad it's a prime time televised game. Tulane going to Memphis. 3-point favorites, Tulane on the road. This game's got a chance to be, an absolute slugfest, and I hope it is. Let me go to you first, Swag. What are you thinking?
I think that I'm going to go with the old underdog. What would be the
Home
dog?
dog?
Sorry,
Home dog.
Home dog.
No. I was thinking dark horse, home dog, home bib.
Corn dog?
Thinking of my love it, corn dog.
Dark
Coming
horse?
State Fair is here
home
right
dog,
now.
home dog.
Corn dogs about a foot and a half long. Biggest wiener you ever seen. I love Memphis in this game because I've been talking. They were my dark horse beginning of the season, and honestly, the season has played out almost exactly like I said it would happen for them. And I said this after they beat Boise State, they would beat Tulane. By God, they beat Boise State. Now they're playing Tulane at home. Blake Watson's playing impeccable, and then you got Seth Hennigan, who's going to be probably the smartest guy on the field. I love Michael Pratt, I really do. I am going to stick with Memphis. Big home win, conference shakeup Friday night. Memphis.
Tip.
Tulane's rushing defense giving up 86 yards per game. I think that's going to make Memphis's offense one-dimensional, which can lead to turnovers. And this Tulane offense can score a lot of points quickly. So I'm going to go with Tulane to win this game on the road.
Murph?
Yeah, I think Michael Pratt is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, not just in the group of five. And they've just looked like the most complete team to me this far. I know Memphis is at home. I know Blake Watson is a stud. I love Rock Taylor on the outside. In a game like this, I think it comes to defense and quarterback play, and I think Tulane has the upper hand on both of them.
The Liberty Bowl holds over 58,000. I think we might.
It feels like 158,000 when you're standing on the field.
I think we might get close to 58. I think we'll get 50,000 in that thing on Friday night. At least I hope we do. The players on Memphis deserve it. The players on Tulane deserve to go into a hostile group of five conference game environment on a Friday night. Now, Blake Watson is an animal, and he fits himself through like the smallest cracks to find space. That being said, maybe I'm biased because I saw the guy and stood next to him for a minute, but Patrick Jenkins and that Tulane defensive line is scary. Absolutely scary. And those little tiny holes that Watson was finding against Boise State, I think they're going to be even smaller against Tulane. And to be honest with you, I think Tulane is going to get a lead similar to like Boise State did early. Problem is Tulane ain't going to give it up. I think Tulane wins double digits. Tulane, roll, wave. That's all we got. How many voicemails we got, Jeff?
I think we got 6 this week.
6 voicemails. You guys keep calling that hotline, 615-900-4286. If you need to vent, if you need to call us out on something, please do. 615-900-4286. Give it to us, Jeff Murphy.
Let's get right to it. Also, if you're on Twitter, listening on Facebook, hop over to YouTube, hop in the live chat. We got some great conversation, great points being brought up. I want to shout it out. Joe Judkins is in there. Derek Mason is in there. Zach Green is in there. Quizzy, our boy, is in there. Adelai Traver is in there. So we got some new people in there. Glad for you to join the show. If you got some good content, we'll shout it out live on air as well. But let's get right to it. New caller, Tulane fan. Let's get to it.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Morgan calling, resident Tulane fan. First, I just want to say, really, I think your guys' coverage is awesome, especially this season. Really enjoy the show every week and just getting the detail and knowledge about what's going on in the G5. A couple of thoughts for you. Obviously, we're coming into our bye week, and I think what's really impressive about Tulane so far is obviously we haven't played a complete game yet. Even game 1 against South Al, there were some moments where we probably could have played a little better. And just sitting back and thinking about the amount of success that we've had, and yet we haven't played a complete game. So obviously this bye week is coming in a good time for us. Some guys are nicked up, and now we're just naming our starting running back in Mekhi Hughes. And really excited for this game coming up at Memphis. I'll be driving over there that Friday. Excited to play, excited to see our guys play over there. Obviously, biggest game of the season for us so far outside of Ole Miss. And other than that, just really thinking about taking a step back and thinking about, the parity going on in the group of 5. I think it's really impressive that you're seeing teams from all over the country elevate their game, from Fresno State to Wyoming to JMU and some others. So it's really impressive to see, talent being put out there, and I'm excited to see what happens as we come into sort of the lead of the season. Anyway, thank you guys for all your awesome coverage. I'll be listening, hoping to get on the live stream if I can, and roll wave, baby. All right. See ya.
Appreciate it, Morgan. Need more American Conference callers.
Yeah, we do. And right on about the parity amongst the group of 5. I mean, every conference right now has a couple of teams. I know everybody's going to hate on Conference USA, but I don't think anybody wants to play Liberty or Western or Jacksonville State right now.
No.
So thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, keep them coming. All right, let's get to our next caller, Zachary Branner, and a pretty calm call this week.
What is up, guys? It is Zachary Branner calling on a Monday at 12:30. I was a little busy over the weekend, just trying to get things organized here at the house. But I want to make a quick call. Thank you, Jeff, for letting me get this in last minute. How about them Trojans, man? Went out there, took care of business, did what we were supposed to do. Really proud of the team. First and foremost, having the nation's number 1 rusher is very, very, very nice. The JMU game, it sucks thinking about that because of how close we were to winning that game. Just self-inflicted wounds. Didn't say that was question call at the end of the game. That's neither here nor there, but really proud of the team. Kamani is almost 1,000-yard rusher. Wouldn't be surprised if he's able to get it this next weekend against Army. I'll give that point in a second, but overall proud of the team. Gunner played pretty well. 236 yards passing, 1 TD. Kamani 28 carries, 245 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He is on the verge of shattering the season rushing record that was held by one of our former running backs back in, actually not say former, but 1996. He's actually going to potentially go down as the best running back in Troy history. It's crazy, but really proud of the team. Quick for Army, I respect them. I was at the game last year. We won 10-9. It was an ugly win, a win nonetheless. But, respect Army. It's going to be a ground and pound game, but you just got to hope the secondary is up because they can also throw the ball if they want to. But overall, we're 1-0, really proud of the team. So, forever and always win Troy, and hell of a win. Let's keep it going. Bye.
Agree.
I feel bad now. Thought he was going to call me out or something else. He tagged me on Twitter. I don't know what it was, but I figured he's going to leave me a voicemail too. So maybe he went back and watched the video and realized I was Tipton and not me.
Tipton said they would cover 17.5. I remember that because specifically
now he's going to watch this one, and you're going to get a real nasty voicemail come on next show.
Yeah,
just a real nasty
in mouth.
All right, let's get to our next one.
Just a nasty woman.
It ain't gonna be some easy win with Army and Troy though. And Army's good.
The Army is good.
Yeah, they got little mini Tebow back there running the shotgun. Army.
But Troy's playing their best football of the season right now.
What I was gonna say.
Army's playing the best football of their season right now.
You bring up the shotgun and the New York Jets and remember the Titans. Do you know what is an extreme? Me and Jesse talk about all the scenes that are just so dumb. You know what else is like? So in that scene, right, you got the legend himself, Ed Henry, the coach of the other team. And it's like the last play of the game, and he's like, cover deep, they're going to throw it deep. Like, well, yeah, of course they are. It's the last play of the game. They're going to call Hail Mary. But also, I saw somebody post, how does the legend himself, Ed Henry, hadn't lost a game in like a decade, give up a 75-yard backside George reverse?
It's just a basic reverse play.
Like, and a quarterback named Sunshine is
three
dropping.
Pancakes. 3 pancakes. I remember being a child. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, man, I'm going to be that blocker. I'm going to do it. Hell, you're so tired out there. You're lucky to get one hit.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, next voicemail, Jeff. What you got?
Josh Bevel.
Movie. Great.
The football scenes in that movie are the worst of all time.
Group of 5 guys. Josh Bevel here as always. Georgia Southern on a bye week this past week. Not too much I got to say, but, looking at JMU coming up this Saturday, it's going to be a big football game. I'm excited. Look for the defense to create some turnovers, hopefully. And, back-to-back games for Davis Brin, being Ball State and Coastal Carolina with no turnovers at all. And, just comes down to turnovers. I mean, you look at the Coastal game a couple weekends ago, Grayson McCall had a couple turnovers, go back to the Wisconsin game versus Georgia Southern-Wisconsin game. Davis Brin had turnovers. Game's going to come down to turnovers on either side. JMU's a damn good football team. They should be ranked, in my opinion. I'm not saying 25. I think they should be top 20, personally. I think they're a damn good football team. If they could play in the Sun Belt Conference Championship, they definitely should be the favorites and probably would win it, depending on, what goes on this Saturday. But, sorry about MTSU, guys. That was not good, but, it is what it is. And thanks for the pick on WKU -6. That was a good lock of the week. Thanks, guys. Hail Southern, go Eagles.
Appreciate it, Josh.
He's exactly right. Davis Brin cannot turn the ball over in this game. And we know how good JMU's defense has been playing. And something else he pointed out, how he thinks that James Madison should be ranked. I 100% agree with that. Because it's just like what you just said, Sprouse. Nobody wants to play James Madison right now.
Well, what if they run the table? Like, what if they run the table and somehow got themselves into the top 15, top 12 and couldn't, because they can't play for a bowl game? I mean, that's just.
Said it last week.
I know.
Play the clip.
I know.
Ridiculous. It's stupid.
Play the clip where you said
it.
Troy was going to lose.
Christ. It's just as bad as NCAA not letting James Madison play in a bowl game or a championship is just as bad as NFL allowing the stupid Philadelphia Eagles keep running that same damn 3-4 yard push play. It's ridiculous. Football,
That'll be illegal in a year or two, I bet.
If you got 4 to 5 yards every play, they'd outlaw it. But now it's just only 2 or 3. I'm going down a rabbit hole. There's so many stupid
tell
rules.
If you're serious or not. You keep winking.
Yeah, you okay?
I have allergies. No,
they're bad, aren't they? Man, allergies are.
Which one's bad?
The allergies.
The people that are running the show. No, man, I think that Philadelphia play. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts. I mean, I like the Philadelphia Eagles. I like Jason Kelsey. I really do. But I think how is it fair to let 2 guys push you in the back and get 2 or 3 yards? How is that fair? I mean, you go against the Los Angeles Rams, has the best defensive tackle in the world. He can't do anything about it. The only thing you can do is just put, sumo wrestlers in nose guard and just let them plop their bellies on the grass and just lay there.
Did you lose money off? Did you lose money off Jalen Hurts at some point?
What happened?
100%
This weekend.
It's not a fair play.
Jesse has no convictions unless he lost money on something.
They've been running it for 4 weeks,
dude.
It's going to get outlawed. It's going to get outlawed here in the next few
is.
months. And James Madison, yeah, I think they're probably the best group of 5 team there is right now. And are we going to remember this team in the history books? No, because they don't have a ring. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. What else you got, Jeff?
All right, let's get to our last 3. We got Stu's Right from Twitter.
3? That's only 3? Okay.
Hey, boys. Stu's Right from Twitter here. Couple notes from the weekend. Enjoyed a nice, relaxing Saturday watching football without having to worry about losing a close one. Marshall, what happened to the defense, man? Backup quarterback. NC State come in and just tore you apart. South Alabama, wow. Big win for Louisiana. Shout out Terry Johnson, Louisiana hot sauce. Let's see, Troy's back, and so is Arkansas State. Woof. How bad is Southern Miss? Good Lord. Also, Wyoming. Roll on, baby. Keep it going. We should have beat North Carolina. I'm still pissed about that. I can't believe they're just running train on everybody in the ACC right now. People, we're coming for you. Actually, you're coming for us, but, well, I'll drink a beer with you, and then we'll give you an ass whipping on the field. Looking forward to seeing you Tuesday. Can't wait to call in next week. Talk to you later.
Those are going to be 2 good voicemails next week.
Yeah.
They ought to leave one together, a joint one.
That'd be pretty good.
One of them's crying and one of them's jumping for joy. It's great stuff. I'm glad they're going to get to meet. I mean, hopefully they do get to link up. That's what we're here for, man. We're creating a community of fans that truly care about this Group of 5 football stuff.
100%. Take a picture, tag us on the
And it out with a couple Yingling flights.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Stu, as always. Let's get to our last 2. We got Zach Green, and then we're letting Terry finish off the night.
What's up, guys? Zach Green here. And Flames escaped on Thursday night, man. I was on a road trip to Pennsylvania, had some car trouble, watched the first half, recorded on my phone, and then watched the second half from like 3:30 to 5:15 in the morning because I was not about to miss that game. And, man, you've never seen a more stressed out football fan at 4:30 in the morning local time than you saw where I was in Pennsylvania on Thursday morning, man. Came right down to the wire. Liberty was up 21-16. Sam Houston was marched all the way from their 1-yard line, even less, all the way down to the goal line with seconds to go, and it's 4th and goal, and Sam Houston, Keegan Shoemaker, threw a pass to the sideline in the end zone, and Kobe Singleton broke it up. Kobe Singleton's a dog. I think he had 3 pass breakups on that last drive. He also had a pass interference, but he made up for it with that last play. And Liberty got the job done. We escaped 21-16. C.J. Daniels, who has had a monster season this far, as our wide receiver, also had an amazing game on Thursday night. And I'm just happy to come out there with a win. We should have beaten them by more. We should have played better. So I'm not trying to make any excuses for that. But I just want to point out that Sam Houston the 0-5, that's why we should have beaten them by more. But Sam Houston held Air Force, who I'm on the bandwagon for, and who might be the best team in the group of 5. We might find out Saturday night. Shout out to that game, Wyoming versus Air Force, Saturday night this weekend. But Air Force only scored 13 on them. BYU, who is having a pretty good season in the Big 12, only scored 14 on them. Liberty scored more than that on them, 21 points. So it's not a game to be proud of, but this is also not some absolutely horrendous football team that we just played. So definitely not proud of it, but I'm not shaking my head too much about it because Sam Houston is going to get somebody soon, and I'm worried for Weston because Sam Houston's already played the 2 other best teams in the conference, and Weston's the only one left, and they almost beat Jack State last week. So tough team there. Glad Liberty won, but we got to play better tomorrow night. Today's Monday, so Tuesday night we got to play better to beat Jack State on Tuesday night. That's a big game. Looking forward to that one, and looking forward to keeping up with that App State Coastal game at the same time. So I think it's time for Coastal to put up or shut up tomorrow night. So, anyways, looking forward to another good week of football. Glad to have survived. This must be what it feels like to be an App State fan on a weekly basis. Thanks, guys. Go Flames.
Appreciate it, Zach. As always. Yeah,
Sam Houston on that last drive, 15 plays, 96 yards in 3.5 minutes. That's not bad for an offense that hadn't been scoring a lot of points. I mean, we talked about it earlier this pod. I mean, they're the best winless team in all of college football, and nobody wants to play them.
Well, and it took 2 great plays by Liberty's corner to win that game. Here's something on that Liberty Jacksonville State game. Just a side note: Jacksonville State, little giveaway, cockpit prizes giveaway. It's called for students only, and current Jack State student must be present and claim your prize within 15 minutes of it being announced. And the first quarter, you're getting a Jacksonville State swag bag and a meal plan for the year. Halftime, you're getting a $500 gift card and a pair of AirPods. End of third quarter, they are giving away, this is gold here, a faculty parking pass and a MacBook. So got to be present end of third quarter. I mean, hey, wow. I'm sure there's teams doing stuff like that, but you got to do something to keep these students there. I mean, even Troy, the students will fill it up, but they'll leave early.
That parking pass is elite.
Oh, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, I don't know what the parking's like everywhere, but at Middle, my God, you walk 2.5 miles to get to the business building. You can't park at the freaking athletics parking lot that's right next to where you're going to be all damn day. Anyway, what else we got, Jeff?
Last one. Let's let Terry Johnson take it home.
Murph, get the button ready. Because I'm about to rip. Let's fucking go. The Cajuns beat the very good, the very good Texas State Bobcats today. And it was a fucking barn burner of a game. But let me tell you these stats, right? Texas State had 29 first downs to UL's 21. 530 total yards to UL's 423. They outgained us by over 100 yards, right? UL had 64 yards of penalties. Texas State had 40. And Texas State had time possession of 33 minutes and UL 26. The only reason why we won that game because of fucking grit and love for our coach. That's why we won. Because we love this fucking team, we love this city, we love this town, and it's time for this fucking town to back this team up. Abysmal showing by the fans to support this team. Horrible showing. I don't know if y'all watching on that television set. Announced to 15,000 shots. It might have been less than that. This team deserves to be backed because it's a fucking awesome team. Texas State was an amazing team to play against. The announcers were just, all they cared about was, TJ Finley played at LSU and Auburn. That's all they could talk about. But this UL team is good. And we coming. All right? We ready. Defense, bend, don't break. Offense made some mistakes, but came out in the end. And special teams, a blocked punt that changed the tide of the game. This team is ready to fucking run it. All right? All right? This team is ready to fucking go. And I'm here for it. All right? Everybody was sleeping on us. Hell, I was sleeping on this team. Nah, this team can clean up the mistakes. We ready to fucking kill it with Zion Chris as the leader of this team. And shout out to Coach Dez, who deserved this win. This is a win that he deserved, that he needed for his self-esteem, I know, for his coaching staff. We ready, Sunbelt. We ready. The Cajuns are coming. God bless Group of 5. God bless Group of 5 guys. Go Cajuns. Let's fucking go.
Oh, you let that one out, huh?
Just felt like
Did you do that on purpose, Jeff?
Felt like it needed. I just felt like it needed to be.
How funny how voicemails can change from week 1 to week 6. And you know what? I'm the same way. You see what I'm talking about my Blue Raiders right now. My God,
or the Eagles.
Pull out. The Eagles. It's not fair. It's not, if anything from this podcast, let me know that it's bullshit that you can push a quarterback who's already squatting 600 pounds, push him in the back over one of the best offensive line in the league to get 2 or 3
Maybe
yards.
you should just take Jalen Hurts over rushing touchdowns. Continue. Sorry.
Oh, then he'll be on here. I think this is the best play in NFL. They won't get it. He won't do it if Grisham takes it. Get the bad
they'll never be that. They'll never be in that situation to do that.
Yeah.
Terry.
Anyway, that's all we got, Jeff.
Yeah, that's it.
Louisiana is back. Go to the games. They're 4-2, 1-1 in conference play, second in the West. Go to the games.
There's a whole generation of Sunbelt players that have no idea what it's like to be verbally assaulted by a bunch of Cajuns sitting right behind you, and they need to experience it. Make you a man. That's all we got for you guys tonight. Saturday morning, we will have our live pregame show. We will be at the house/man caves again, taking another week off before we hit the road, I believe, the week after that. Catch us. That'll be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Watch the pregame show, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, live stream. We need your help. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to groupoffiveguys.com. Get you some Group of 5 Guys swag. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with your family and friends. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Leave a comment. Like it, click it, retweet it, share it, all the above. Catch you Saturday morning. Out of here.